Hello, here we are at the KPFT, hello there, 50th anniversary reunion. I'm Frank Martin, Chief Engineer of Pacifica Radio KPFT from 1976 through about 1979, somewhere in there. And I'm sitting here with the Development Director from the same era, Igor Alexander. And what do you remember about that era? Where were we? Were we ever here at 618 Lovett?
This isn't Lovett, this is 618 Prairie.
Prairie. See, we're now, KPFT is now at 419 Lovett. It was at 618 Prairie.
Yes, sir, Bob, that's sure what it was. Well, I come here in a covered wagon. It took about 3 months to cross the prairies from California back to Texas. Everybody else back then wanted to go to California, but I come here instead.
But in reality, you were born in San Francisco, right?
Yes, sir, Bob, I sure was. But I always wanted to be a cowboy.
That's a nice accent, but we know your real accent is a Russian accent.
Actually, I don't have a Russian accent.
That's right. You don't have any accent at all. And we just came here from the Russian Spring Festival.
This is correct. Это правда. Мы видели русскоговорящих людей. Было очень интересно.
Do you have anything else to say for yourself, or should we wrap this up?
Well, no, I must say that I come here in a covered wagon January 7th, 1977 to work for the Contemporary Arts Museum under the direction of James Harrison, who's still alive and among us. And the ticket was bought by his future wife, Ann O'Connor Williams, Kemp Robinson, and now Harrison. And well, that project blew up spectacularly. I was offered a position of development director. I just come from New York, where I was writing for magazines and whatnot. And so it was my first sort of long-term job in Houston, Texas. I put out the Mighty 90 newspaper, and I met a lot of fascinating people who are still friends of mine today. In fact, the man who introduced me to my wife, to whom I'm still married 40 years later, Hobart Taylor III, he was the news director at the time. And his grandfather owned this building here on Prairie Street, the Atlanta Life building, because he had the Atlanta Life franchise for Texas. But that's a story for another day.
Or another time, and that was the last century. I remember the managers that we worked under. It was Bob Rogers, who came from Phoenix, Arizona, with his group of Phoenicians, who brought me in as chief engineer. I was also working elsewhere in town at ABC's O&O, KXYZ, KAUM, and KIKK, and we would frequently steal their equipment to do live remotes from country music venues.
KIKK, now I remember that. That's it referred to the colorful Texian phrase "shit kicker," I believe.
Indeed, and it was 6:50 a.m. and I think 95.7 FM. But Bob Rogers brought me in, and Ray Hill. I continue to work under Ray Hill, the late Ray Hill, the gay rights activist, as general manager here at KPFT in 1977. Right? Do you remember that?
No. Steve Heimel was the general manager. He hired me. And Steve Heimel was still there, I think, in '79 when I left.
You're right.
And then Michael August came in to be manager, and then Ray Hill was a manager for a while, as far as I remember.
That's correct. And Mike August is right over here, so we'll go get him and talk to him. Anything else?
Well, I just want to say once again that KPFT, I had grown up in next door to Berkeley, California, listening to KPFA and KPFB, and I had this huge respect for these totally non-commercial radio stations in the San Francisco Bay Area. So when I found out they had affiliate station here, I was jumped at the chance to work at something. But of course, non-commercial radio in Houston, Texas in the 70s, a little different from Berkeley, California in the 70s, but it was all pretty goddamn interesting, and I met, like I said, some incredible people.
as it is today, different on March 1st, 2020. But famously, all 5 Pacifica stations still survive. New York, Los Angeles, San Francisco, Berkeley, Washington, D.C., is that still in there?
Yes, I believe so.
And Houston, all 5 of them. So I'm going to hit the off button and post this to YouTube, okay?
Very well. Thanks for the time.